75th anniversary event of the Crowdstrike 24 Hours of Spa Francorchamps took place last July in the Ardennes Forest. Now, it was my first visit to this fantastic event that had nearly 60 GT3 cars running around this 7.004 kilometre circuit for twice around the clock. But during my time in the paddock here in the Ardennes Forest, I wanted to find out how effective simulators are when it comes to drivers. The main thing being, how can it prepare them for upcoming races, especially when they need track knowledge? Well, I found a couple of drivers, good friends of mine, who are willing to answer my questions.
Hi, my name is Bobby Trundley, racing with Team Grit in McLaren Trophy Europe.
Hi, my name is Filip Vava. I'm racing with NM Racing Team in the GT4 European Series, racing with Mercedes AMG GT4.
So, good to catch up with Bobby Trundley, a good mate of mine from Team Brit, running in the McLaren Trophy season this year with Aaron Morgan. Bobby, how important to you is sim racing to be an effective tool for training on tracks such as here at Spa Francorchamps?
Oh, firstly, it's great to see Alex. It's been so long. The sim racing is obviously a vital tool, especially at tracks that you haven't been to before or consistently.
Yes.
First time I came to Spa was actually last year when we were racing in British GT. So to be back here is obviously an amazing thing. But for sim racing as well, it's very good. It trains your head. Yeah, it's probably not exactly accurate to the real track, track, but you can get roughly your braking points and roughly your turning points, and it's just familiarization, get all of that familiarization. So yeah, and also again in a race, even with AI on sim racing, it's very helpful.
And in terms of improving performance, which is another way in which sim racing or simulator usage can be, as you evolve as a racing driver, development is a key part to performance.
Yes.
Simulator work enhances that.
Yes.
How would you say that your performance since your first visit to Spa last year to now, how has that evolved through the use of simulator usage?
Oh, massively. So I'd say my involvement has been mainly through sim racing, so particularly making the step from British GT. It was a last minute decision after obviously Silverstone, what happened at Silverstone, and we just made a decision. But then to move into a championship to where we're travelling around Europe, especially so with Paul Ricard, for example, never been there. Tarmac hell, as most people say, or the tarmac sea. But it is a fantastic track, actually. You still think I can get lost on it somehow, but yeah. But then also you got Nürburgring, especially, and all that. So Nürburgring, Hockenheim, and Catalonia, and for me, that's going to be where the sim racing is going to help massively, and also it trains me up for that level, and yeah. It's just basically just pounding laps around places you haven't been,
familiarizing yourself with a track using the simulator. When it comes to setting up the car, of course, yes, a simulator is not going to give you the full, unbridled, uncomfortable situation of being in a triple Nomex layer race suit. But how can that help in sort of transferring what you've learned onto the sim and putting it into real life?
It can work. It just depends on what type of sim software you use. So obviously, certain aero settings will work, unless if there's like F1 2013 glitch where you can run max aero and go quicker than everyone else or something like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, simulations are not going to be the most accurate thing. However, certain technologies have evolved in sim racing as well. So, such as iRacing's improving every time. There was a stage where iRacing was just absolute ice rink, and now they're sort of veering away from that. And it's also like ACC, which was tire temperature simulator for a couple of years now, but it's now seems to be veering away from that. So it's just all of that great stuff. And yeah, so as you said, it does help in some ways. Certain things work, but obviously it depends how realistic the sim is compared to the other stuff. Whereas,
Yeah. Final question, Bobby. What products do you use for sim racing when it comes to, or simulator work when it comes to steering wheels, direct drive, and pedals?
yeah, so I have quite a weird odd setups. So I used to obviously run a Thrustmaster setups, but now I've got a Fanatec DD1 wheelbase with a Porsche 911 Alcantara wheel podium. Um, I have, which I think I need to get some V3 pedals, but I have Thrustmaster T LCM pedals, load cell pedals, which is just basically load cell brake. They're good pedals, but I wouldn't say I think I need an upgrade there. I do have a T8HE shifter, I think, for cruising around in manuals, because why not? It's fantastic.
Everyone loves a manual.
Everyone loves a manual, yeah. And yeah, that's pretty much all my sim racing gear, 100% really. As I said, upgrading from my Thrustmaster T300 to a DD1 was a massive, massive step, because the D direct drive wheels are just so much more. You can feel what's going on in the car and everything. Whereas in the belt one, yeah, you can, but from 2 newton meters of torque from the wheelbase could reduce to 20. It's massive, and yeah, you're not going to be using all of that, but it's the detail that matters. So, yeah, I could talk to you about myself all day if I wanted to.
Yeah, well, we don't have time, and I don't have time, you don't have time. Well, Philip, we've known each other for quite a bit of time, especially with your days at KR Sport in Senior Rotax. Firstly, GT4 European Series, incredibly competitive. Of course, testing is limited. Simulator work is very, very crucial to learning tracks at a very, very specific amount of pace, especially with a track like here at Spa. How important is it for you to get that training, to understand the nuances of the circuit via the simulator?
No, yeah, I think it's very important, because a simulator at the end of the day gives you a basic idea of what to expect. You can obviously test different track conditions, different setups. You can play around and really try to get a basic and general idea of what you're going to have to work with when you get to a place in real life.
In terms of setup on the Mercedes-AMG GT4, how crucial has that been to going on the sim? You're not in the uncomfortable situation that you are in now in real life, where you've got a triple Nomex layer race suit. The cockpit temperature is going to be like 50 degrees Celsius. And you have all the visceral feelings underneath. You know, you're in the cockpit. You've had a seat fit this weekend as well, I've seen via social media. How much can you transfer what you've learned on the simulator to what you find out in real life?
Well, obviously in a simulator, I guess you know, obviously in a simulator, because you have unlimited laps and unlimited testing, you can kind of test out multiple different combinational setups and see, I guess, an idea of what works and what doesn't. So you can do much more combinations, make much more bigger changes and small changes, like very quickly in an instant. So you have a big idea of what to work with and what to expect out of the car, how the car will react to certain changes, such as tire pressure or roll bars, etc.
And also from a race simulation perspective is another great training ground.
Yeah.
How crucial is that when you're one driver in one of 62 GT4 cars here this weekend? By doing race simulations, that also gives you that added motivation to help improve the setup. And on the simulator, it's quite key, you know, the full formation lap, you're warming up the tyres ready to go because they'll be cold. You know, there's no tyre blankets on the cars, unlike some of the other categories that race across the world. It's quite crucial to have that understanding, saying like, right, okay, I know that if I speed up coming out of Blanchimont, I can go into the bus stop chicane, hit the anchors hard, I can swerve from side to side, get the sidewalls warmed up, get the contact patches warmed up, and then you're steeled and ready. And that gives you also the opportunity to get yourself ready for the 2 races for this weekend.
Yeah, I think it's what you said. I think simulator work, doing obviously practicing racing and practicing warm up, obviously helps a lot. Especially I think in terms of your consistency and raceability when it comes to driving real life. Because in a simulator, you can obviously it's a lot of practice making sure that you get those braking points and those acceleration points identical every lap in, lap out, and making sure you do it consistently, repetitively. And practicing to do so on a simulator does eventually translate to real life. It gives you the discipline, it gives you that feeling of doing everything consistently, like a computer.
Yeah, and I've got two more questions for you. First one, how much practice on the simulator have you put in ahead of this weekend here at Spa Francorchamps?
Every day, I can't tell you exactly. Every day I jump in, just at least get in the feel. Like maybe sometimes I just be in for half an hour, maybe for 2 hours, and then I'm just obviously kind of playing around with the setup, trying different lines, trying different things, trying different track conditions, especially here in the place at Spa. Sometimes it can be sunny and warm, just because now where the track is overheating, and then tomorrow it may be 15 degrees and pouring it down like it was yesterday in qualifying for GT3s. So we got to practice for all kinds of conditions as well and work around every setup possible, really.
Yeah, final question. What equipment do you use, like, say, direct drive, pedals, steering wheel on your simulator at home?
So yeah, I just use a direct drive wheel from Fanatec, and just some pedals that have included like ABS braking as well. So it simulates the ABS braking, and also having a seat rig as well helps a lot. We can mount the pedal, mount the steering wheel, and there's no movement at all. So that way you can get all the proper feedback especially from the brake pedal and through the wheel as well, and understand how the car works.
Well, you heard it from the horse's mouth itself, and a really great, wonderful insight to understand even those drivers in the lower tier of sports car racing, such as McLaren Trophy Europe and GT4 European Series powered by Rafa Racing. It was really interesting to hear the responses from both Bobby and from Filip on how they were preparing for new tracks, but also for such a fearsome track as Spa Francorchamps. It just goes to show that the line between reality and simulation has been very, very much closed on in by the amount of simulators we have out there these days, such as iRacing, ACC, Automobilista 2, and so many others. Well, a big thank you to Bobby and Filip for taking part, and a big thank you to you for watching. Of course, don't forget, if you haven't already, like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you very soon when my vlog series for 2024 gets underway very soon. Goodbye.